After more than 2 months, the Indian and the Chinese military officials will once again sit across the table to discuss the ongoing situation at the line of actual control between India and China. The 9th round of military talks will begin in Chushul, and Lieutenant General P.G.K. Menon and also the South Xinjiang Military Region Commander Major General Liu Lin are likely to meet at the border personnel meeting point in Moldo on the Chinese side of the line of control. The last time the two nations came face to face to negotiate was on the 6th of November in 2020. Now, India and China have been at loggerheads since the month of May last year. 20 Indian soldiers, remember, were killed in a skirmish with their Chinese counterparts in the Galwan Valley after the Chinese army had launched certain aggressive actions. For its part, China had not disclosed the number of casualties that it suffered in that skirmish in the Galwan Valley, but there are figures of almost about 40-odd Chinese soldiers who may have lost their lives there. The two sides have already held almost about 8 rounds of talks on various levels, but the negotiations have remained inconclusive. The Ministry of External Affairs recently said, and I quote, India and China continue to maintain very close communication through diplomatic and military channels, with the objective of ensuring complete disengagement in all friction points along the line of actual control in the western sector and for full restoration of peace and tranquility. The India and China are also conducting diplomatic talks on working mechanism for consultation and coordination. The last round of talks took place on the 18th of December. The next round of senior commander meeting is expected pretty soon. All right, now to give us more information as to what is expected to happen today, we are joined in by WION's Siddhant Sibal, is joining us live right now on this broadcast. Good morning to you, Siddhant. So what is the latest on this? What development can we expect as a part of this meeting?
Well, Mohammed, we do expect some kind of development in terms of announcement when the conversation starts, because it was expected to start around 9:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time, and of course it is going to happen in Moldo in the Chinese side, and this talks something that both sides were eagerly waiting, both sides in fact reiterating the same during the diplomatic level of conversation that took place in the month of December when both sides had a virtual meeting. But the military talks coming at a time when we have a new president of United States. Both sides in fact were waiting for the oath-taking ceremony, but we know that there is no optimism regarding the talks given the fact that the standoff has continued for many months. In fact, the standoff started in the month of April and May, and then we also saw the Galwan incident in which India lost 20 of its soldiers because of aggressive action by the Chinese. Of course, Chinese also suffered casualties, but China, being China, never came out with any figures. So this time around also, there is no optimism because the Indian side is keen that the disengagement happens as soon as possible. But we know that there hasn't been any movement by the Chinese side on the ground. But the key outcome is something that everyone will be waiting, whether it will be that both the sides agreeing to have another round of military conversation, that is the 10th round of military conversation. But it looks like that only a political level interference or perhaps intervention can lead to some kind of breakthrough. We know that the Chinese action has turned the tide or the sentiment against China here in India, and it is unlikely that any major positive developments can in fact happen in terms of the informal summits or any people-to-people interaction. In fact, last year both sides were expected to celebrate the 70th year of establishment of diplomatic relationship, and one of the key outcomes of the 2019 informal summit in Malappuram was that there will be 35 events here in India and 35 events in China, so that there is more increased people-to-people interaction. But that never happened because we know what happened in 2020. So 2020 has completely changed the India-China dynamics, and if China makes sure that there are some kind of positive confidence-building actions, including disengagement, only then there can be some kind of positive reciprocation by New Delhi.
Absolutely indeed, Siddhant. Now, one of the key questions that a lot of people would be asking is, yes, so we've seen what China has been doing at the line of actual control in Ladakh and also in a few other places. But what is the objective of the Chinese administration here? What is Xi Jinping trying to achieve by keeping up the temperature high at the line of actual control with India?
Well, what are the key objectives of Xi Jinping, the Chinese government, is something that they haven't officially said about, mentioned about, and nobody knows. But if we go by the action of the Chinese government in last 1 year, whether it's with India, whether it's with Taiwan, whether it's with other countries, including countries like Australia and Canada, it shows that there is a new aggressive China which is trying to change the world, especially not go by the international rule-based order, the rules-based order which was established after the 1940s. And the Chinese action is something that is worrying everyone from Washington to New Delhi to Canberra and Tokyo. And for that we have seen number of actions being taken by like-minded countries, including democracies, whether it's coming together under one umbrella of the Quad, or whether it is the Indo-Pacific concept, a concept with which Beijing is very suspicious about, because Beijing sees its encirclement through these concepts. But by and large, it is now looking clear that it is China versus the rest. If we look at the action by the Chinese, in fact, the Chinese action has exacerbated things, and of course has played a role as a catalyst when it comes to India's proactiveness in groupings like Quad, mechanisms like Quad, because earlier India wasn't keen very much. India, of course, had a background thought as well that it might irk neighborhood countries like
Right.
China. But now, after the Chinese action, India is clear about its policy decisions and where it should stand in the world platform.
Absolutely indeed, Siddhant. Thank you very much indeed for joining us and getting us all those insights then. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.